me, which I know it looks like I'm 15, but I'm not. I'm 16, so. But, I've been doing this full time since then, and so many of these songs have really just come right out of my journal pages. They've just been my struggles and issues that I've been dealing with, and I've noticed over the years, man, I have a lot of issues. I'm going to have a long career. But it's interesting because all of my struggles and stuff that mark so much of my life, for me, have a starting point that I can point to and say, oh, this is where it began. And that's interesting for me. Like for me, where it all began was 4th grade. So 4th grade, I was a 9-year-old. That was the year that lust really began to sink its teeth pretty deep into me as I was exposed to some magazines I shouldn't have been looking at, which eventually turned into websites I shouldn't be going to, which eventually turned into an over decade-long addiction. That started for me at 9. That same year was tough because that was the year I also started overeating. So at 4th grade, I was about 115, 120 pounds. By the time I got to high school, I was 260 pounds. Go figure, my last name is Needham, so. But I was my whole life was just marked by this idea of, if it feels good, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to suffer the consequences. I don't really care. And I did it, and I suffered. I really did. And, it wasn't until years later that I really began to get a grasp on why I wasn't making any progress with this issue. Because, can I be honest with you guys, even when Jesus was introduced to me as a sophomore in high school, and I embraced him as my Savior, and the cross made sense for the first time, even in that, not a whole lot changed for me. Some stuff did, but it didn't budge. Some of the big boy issues didn't budge. And so here's what I've come to discover by God's grace about why I wasn't making progress. Because I feel like for many of us, this is us. We have our issues and we don't have any way, it seems, to defeat them. We're stuck in this routine of stumbling and repenting and stumbling and repenting. And is there any way we can get free? Well, I want to submit that there is. I want to share with you what I learned. For years, I felt like I had a grasp on what my issue was. But I was mistaken. Here's what I thought my primary issue in regard to my sin was. I thought it was primarily a judicial problem that I had. So hang with me for a second. When I say that, what I mean is this, that my crime was primarily a law issue, that God gave me his laws, I have violated those laws, and now it's my job as a Christian to figure out ways to stop violating his laws. That at the bottom of all of it, that was the main thing. And though that is true, God has shown me that there's a deeper current running under that. And I want to share that with you. When we misdiagnose a problem, we can't make progress. Like, a flu shot's really good if you're going to get a flu. But if you have terminal cancer, a flu shot probably isn't going to do you much good. You know what I mean? That's what I felt like I was doing with that diagnosis. I was treating cancer with a flu shot. So here's what I discovered. I started reading the Old Testament. I don't know if you guys have spent much time in the Old Testament, but I feel like they should just retitle that whole book the Book of Human Train Wrecks, because it is so jacked up, right? I mean, you get 2 good chapters out of that puppy and it goes south real quick. And I'm reading, and Adam and Eve, we can all agree that was a fail, right? Cain, that was a fail, and it moves just from individuals to now nations. So now it's all the ites, right? The Hittites and the Amorites and the Jebusites, all those people, not good. But then even God's people, as I read, it was just terrible, terrible things that these people were involved in, just corrupt acts. They would go through the 10 Commandments in a minute, man. It was baffling to me as I read, and so you can imagine my excitement as I arrived at Praise Yahweh. Woo! I'm gonna cry. My ears are bleeding. You can imagine my excitement having read all that and seen what the nation of Israel is like when I got to the prophets, because the prophets just punch everybody in the face, you know. And I needed a little bit of judgment in my day, because I just felt like these people need to be told what's up. And when I got there, I was so shocked by what God charged them. I was reading Jeremiah. You might know the passage, 2:13. We need to get 2 chapters in before we get God's charge against the nation. Here's what it is. My people have committed 2 evils against me. Okay, I was expecting a laundry list, but we got 2 right now. Okay, here we go. 1, they have forsaken me, the fountain of living water. And 2, they have dug for themselves wells, broken wells that cannot hold water. He could have said anything about the crimes of that nation, and he boiled it all down to eating and drinking. I thought that was so fascinating. And so is it any wonder why, when we get to the New Testament, the first couple things we learn about Jesus is this, that he was born into a town called Bethlehem, and he was born into a manger. Now that might seem fairly insignificant to you, but consider this. The town Bethlehem means house of bread. And a manger, you know what a manger is? It's a feeding trough. So the God of the